Hello and welcome to today's video on the 5 most common mistakes students make on the Advice Men question, and most importantly, how to avoid them. So this is for anyone studying Pearson Edexcel IGCSE English Literature, for which you are assessed on 2 assessment objectives. Number 1, which is your demonstrating a close knowledge and understanding of the text and your critical style, and AO4, which is your understanding of the relationship between the text and context, both of which we'll be exploring in these 5 top mistakes. So the first mistake that is seen a lot is it's understandable. You're revising for the exam, you get your flashcards out, you learn lots of quotes, and then you get in the exam, your brain's full, and you just want to get them in your essay. Now, yes, for AO1, you do need to know the text well. Okay. However, the examiner's reports repeatedly say you do not need to learn long quotes. Okay. You need to know the text well, but are they going to be checking, all these long quotes to check you've got them exactly right? No, they're not. Okay. So one mistake students commonly do is quote dumping. So as you can see in this first example with the Red Cross, we've got just a long quote about Lenny after Curly's wife. And they're not testing your memory of quotes. Okay. They do want to see that you understand the text and you've got something to say. Instead, if we look at the second example, after the death of Curly's wife, Lenny is bewildered and does not appear to understand what he's done. He repeats, "I did another bad thing." So you can see rather than put this whole quote describing that event, instead it's just showing that you know that event happens, you know how Lenny reacts, and that's going to be relevant to your argument going forwards. Okay, so bear that in mind. You don't need to learn loads and loads of specific quotes. Instead, focus on learning those keywords that you can just embed really smoothly in, and also just showing that you know the text really, really well. Another common mistake is analysing language. Now, for Edexcel Pearson IGCSE, you do not need to analyse language. Okay, that's AO2. That is not assessed for this question. So you can see what we don't want is Steinbeck uses a metaphor, Prince of the Ranch, to describe Slim. The noun prince connotes blah, 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 blah. Okay, we don't want this because this is getting too bogged down in the language analysis. Now, they're not going to cross it out and they're not going to say this is wrong if you write that, because obviously it's not wrong, it's good analysis, but they're not going to reward it because it's not assessed for this question. Instead, you need to be focusing on AO1, which is your critical engagement, your ability to form an argument and share your ideas and justify your ideas as you go through your essay. So instead of kind of analysing the specific language in Prince of the Ranch, you could use that same quote to make or forward your argument. So, for example, Steinbeck contrasts Slim's natural leadership capabilities as Prince of the Ranch with Curley's lack of natural authority. Okay, if you look at that second example, that is creating an argument. Okay, it's suggesting why Steinbeck might have done this and what Steinbeck was trying to say. And given that the other objective that's being assessed here is linking to context, you can tie your argument together with what Steinbeck might have been saying about 1930s America and context, etc. Another common mistake is writing about context without linking it to your argument. Okay, they are not interested in a history essay. They don't want you to just tell them about this was the Wall Street crash. It happened on this day, and these are what caused it, and this led to this and this and this. Okay, they're not interested in that because that is not the skill that is being assessed here. The skill the examiners are looking for is, can you link what was happening around Steinbeck writing this text with your argument, and can you try and explore why Steinbeck might have been writing about this? What was he saying? So, for example, if we look at this first kind of crossed out one, it's just kind of a history essay about the Wall Street crash. The second example, Steinbeck uses the characters of the ranch workers to explore the changes in society after the upheaval of the 1929 Wall Street crash and the Great Depression of the 1930s. Okay, so in that second example, which you would then go on and expand on, but it's not just giving here's lots of facts about the Wall Street crash. Instead, it's linking it to your argument as you go through. The next big mistake students make is failing to plan or write a clear thesis statement. So again, going back to AO1, your perceptive understanding, your critical engagement, you need to show that you have got an idea and a perspective that you are going to have a clear argument running throughout your essay about. So you need to take the time to plan, to first of all make sure you're clear on the question, decide what your kind of main body points are going to be, and then use those points to write a thesis statement. Okay, I have a whole other video on how to write an introduction for Of Mice and Men. You can find it in the Of Mice and Men playlist. But you need to make sure you have a clear argument. And if you do, the examiner will be looking at that and going, yes, I can see they've got an idea in mind. Let's give them some ticks. If you can go even further and you can start linking it to context and thinking, why has John Steinbeck done this? Before the examiner even gets to your first body paragraph, they will be awarding you with marks. Okay, so you must plan, you must write a thesis statement. So important for you to show your perceptive understanding of the text. And the last most common mistake that I've seen in well over a decade of being an English teacher is only focusing on the most obvious points in the book. So there are multiple readings of any text. What I mean by that is, we very rarely have the writer in front of us to be able to ask them, what did you mean by this? We have to kind of think, oh, could it have meant this? Could it have meant this? Maybe I could argue it meant this. And we can't just read the text on one level. Okay, so it's one thing that does happen as well is that students will only focus on kind of one major part of the book or one kind of perspective of the book and not kind of explore on a deeper level, because you need to show that you know the whole text, not just the headlines, not just, George and Lenny get to the ranch, they meet Curly doesn't like them, they meet Candy, Lenny kills Curly's wife, George kills Lenny. You don't just want the headlines. You need to show that you understand actually the more subtle and nuanced part of the text, and you can link that to your argument. Okay, so when you're doing your plan, so this links very much to mistake 4. When you're doing your plan, think about how can you show the knowledge of the whole text and not just focus on one or two specific bits. Thank you so much for watching. I've got a whole playlist on Of Mice and Men. As always, please do let me know your questions. Please subscribe and give this a like, and I'll be back with another video next week.